Sebastian Mack has entered the transfer portal, another UCLA Bruin that is leaving in light of the Donovan Dent addition. Sebastian Mack averaged 9.5 points this past season, 43% from the floor, 31% from three. All in all, it was not all that different than his freshman year. The only major difference, he played less. He was still not exactly a great 3-point shooter, not exactly an efficient scorer anywhere on the floor, certainly not a passer, almost a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, under 2 assists a game. And I think Mick Cronin just, I don't want to say gave up on him, but with the addition of Sky Clark last year, was prioritizing other players at the expense of Sebastian Mack. Writing was on the wall, and when Donovan Dent arrives, it became time for him to move on and look for a different home. What's your breakdown on Sebastian Mack, the player, before we get into some potential fits?
Man, he's just someone who I'm not particularly high on. I don't really know what his role is. Like, what's the best version of Sebastian Mack? I get him like wanting to leave with Donovan Dent coming in there because I think he does need the ball, and Dent's going to probably be one of the highest usage players in the Big Ten. But to me, kind of always seen through 2 years of Sebastian Mack as a downhill guard, which can be, I mean, that can be valuable, but I just worry he's a little too one-dimensional to be a huge difference maker. He's really crafty. Like if you watch him finish at the rim, he's able to hit reverse lays off the glass that have you wondering like how did that fall? But beyond that, it's like you get outside of the paint, down the last 2 months of the season, February onward, he only made 9 threes. And just to be a 6'3" guard, like, and your main attribute is getting into the paint, finishing at the basket, having that little of 3-point gravity, it's just easy for teams to scheme against you and take that away. So I get like maybe needing to change of scenery. Some of the schools on his list, like we've seen them succeed with guards like that, with the I would say well-built 6'3" guards who like to just get downhill and don't do much else, to where maybe there's you can buy a career resurgence somewhere else. But yeah, I really struggle to see what exactly, like I just think it's going to take a good coach that has a plan for him for you to see the best version of Sebastian Mack.
Yeah, he's a score only undersized guard, and that makes it hard because he's not big for his position as a shooting guard. Although he's got some weight to him, 6'3", 200. I guess he's not undersized, but you watch him, he doesn't feel big when he's out
Mhm.
there. And he's out there strictly to score. Respectfully, I've never really watched him do anything on the basketball court other than like, let me get hot and try and put the orange thing in the 10-foot thing. Now, there's
Mhm.
a spot for players like that across the country. I think a lot of schools would use a little lightning bug score. Just the question is, what is the role? Is he better as an off the bench option? Is he better as I don't know, like a true starter playing 35 minutes a game? Probably depends on how good your team is. But I've got a big list here that I was even unaware about before we clicked record on this video. But Tobias Bass has the list of schools that have reached out to Sebastian Mack. Hold on to your seats, folks. It's quite a few. Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas, Florida State, Miami, Oklahoma State, Seton Hall, UNLV, St. John's, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Boston College, Arizona State, TCU, San Diego State, Indiana, DePaul, Illinois, Michigan, and Louisville have all reached out to Sebastian Mack. That is 20 schools after the sixth man shooting guard that averaged 9 points a game last year. Your thoughts on that list?
Yeah, people get real desperate as soon as the portal opens. But I noted he has the Zooms with Oklahoma and Mizzou, Florida State, Tennessee, San Diego State. Those first two, he kind of feels like an Oklahoma or Missouri guard. I don't know what it is about him. Like, but both those schools, like it's like Missouri getting Tamar Bates. When Tamar Bates transferred to Mizzou, it was like, does anyone really want Tamar Bates? And it's almost like, Greg, you used to be a corporate guy who would go into an office.
Mhm.
Did you ever have like mornings where maybe a coworker would bring donuts in?
Yes, often.
You know, when someone brings donuts, and usually it's like, okay, we got to get through like the 2 dozen or whatever. There's only 3 donuts left. Like it's not really worth saving. Or you're gonna throw it away unless someone claims it now. Someone's like, all right, I'll slide in. I take that. Sebastian Mack is that donut in this case, and that's like Missouri and Oklahoma's recruiting strategy in the portal. You know, they get these guards who are sort of cast off, who maybe have pedigree once upon a time, and that to me is like, you put him in a coach who's had experience with like these type of reclamation projects like that, whether it's Porter Moser or whether it is Dennis Gates, and maybe they find something. That's like best case scenario for Sebastian Mack to me.
It's a great comp. I will say I think Missouri is a great landing spot because I don't view him all that differently than I used to view like a Tamar Bates, where
Hmm.
it's like, oh, this guy's just a scorer. He's a losing player. Good luck. And then all of a sudden you look up, Missouri was like a top 15 Ken Pom team this year. Tamar Bates was awesome. We saw Mark Mitchell have a similar career reclamation. So I don't
I'm
know.
telling
Dennis
you,
Gates must have the magic touch with that.
yeah, both Bates and Mark Mitchell, those were the leftover donuts, and they turned out to be pretty good. Caleb Grill was a leftover donut, and like another dude who Gates tapped into. So I really think there is something to be said with that. I mean, with Oklahoma, you could look at like Javian McCollum or who's that dude who hit a bunch of threes in a game this year? He
Oh,
hit
what's his
nine
name?
threes in a game.
I'm
What is
forgetting
it?
his name.
Obviously, it's a different game than
What the hell's his name?
Bryson Gooden. Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, he transferred in from Fairfield. That's a little bit different. He started at, dang, dude, this man was played 6 years of college basketball and started at Syracuse in 2019.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
Crazy.
Sebastian Mack, obviously a different role than that, but I'm just saying with both of these coaches, they found, again, I would just call it the cast off transfers who, you would have looked at them in the portal a year ago and been like, I don't really know what their role is, and they found success there.
Yeah, no, I agree. If I could like call my shot at whittling his list down, my guess would be his final five schools are Oklahoma, Missouri, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Arizona State. And then he ends up being like a first or second option at one of those. They're like an
Mhm.
NIT bubble team, and we keep it moving. Missouri would be the one I think he could find success on a good team at, just because we've seen Gates do that. But certainly when I see Illinois, Michigan, Indiana on this list, to my Big Ten brethren, let's collectively pass on this one. That's my ask of you. Let's let Sebastian Mack do his own thing. And credit to Mick Cronin, honestly, not to just shit on the kid, but he needed to move on from the Mac Andrews backcourt experiment. I was shocked he doubled down on it after year one of those guys into year two. And I think it's going to reap benefits for UCLA. And it's going to be a mutual thing where Sebastian Mack ends up in a better spot as well. He has a better chance of reviving his career doing this than he would have staying at UCLA. So, Sebastian, good luck to you. Hopefully, you end up at Missouri and we can come back to this clip of Riley Davis calling this one perfectly.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.